Hey kids, Goodly Grandpa here. I see Grandma's out there working in the garden, so let's go check on her and see what she's up to. Hi Karen.
Hi.
What you doing?
I'm just getting some of the weeds out here so that we can plant our garden.
Are your puppies helping?
Kind of.
How are they doing?
They're doing okay. I just have to try and keep them out of the planters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I see they're out here keeping you company.
Yeah.
Well, you want to talk to us a little bit about your puppies?
Yeah, this is Dan and Ann.
It's what?
Ann's the girl. She's the bigger one.
It's not Ann, it's Little Ann.
Little Ann.
And what's the boy's name?
Old Dan.
Okay, tell us which is which. Here, I'll tell you. So this is Old Dan right here. And Old Dan is half Great Pyrenees and half Anatolian Shepherd. And this is Little Ann. Little Ann is a purebred Great Pyrenees. All right, how old is Little Ann?
She's probably 11 weeks now, and he's 3 weeks younger, so he's like 8 weeks.
8 weeks and 11 weeks old. All right, so why did you choose these dogs?
They're livestock guardian dogs.
Livestock guardian dogs.
Great Pyrenees is good for watching the fence.
Okay, she's the Great Pyrenees. She's going to watch the fence. She's going to be with, they're going to be out there with the livestock, the cows and the pigs and maybe even the chickens, right?
Yeah, and the Anatolian Shepherd's good for herding the goats.
Okay, so he's going to kind of keep the goats all together and safe. So great, and he's half Great Pyrenees too, so he's going to have a little bit of both of those traits. So the Anatolian Shepherd, he's a little more aggressive. He'll be more protective. But the Great Pyrenees, they're good night patrollers. So when she's full grown, she'll do most of her work at night, patrolling the perimeter of the fence, making sure that no predators get in to take care of her family, which will be the livestock, and to some degree us. So what are we doing right now to train them, besides letting them chew on planters?
Hey, Ann, no.
What are you doing?
No.
Hey, quit chewing on stuff. There you go.
Teach them how to sit.
Okay, let's see if they learned anything. Here. We're also teaching them come, right? Ann, Little Ann, come. Good girl. Okay, Little Ann, sit. Sit. Good girl. Old Dan. Old Dan. Here, quit chewing on that. No. Sit. Good boy. Good boy. That's a good boy. Yeah. All right, so they're coming along, right?
Yeah.
So how are we going to get to train them to be livestock guardian dogs?
We're going to put them with the goats soon.
Just put them in with the goats. They're just going to be with the goats, right?
Yeah, and then we have to also introduce them to the chickens.
Okay, you know they're tearing up your landscape fabric, right?
Stop.
They're
Yeah. No. 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 No.
okay. Bad puppies. Bad puppies. Okay, so what we're going to do when they're just a little bit older? Actually, we're going to probably start real soon. Just letting them come into the goat pen with us.
Yeah.
And just spend time with the goats.
Yeah.
We would probably introduce them to the chickens too, but we had some chicken issues this week. What happened with our chickens? Or last week, rather?
A neighbor's dog massacred them. Most of them.
Most of them?
Except for, we still have 3 left.
3 out of how many?
We had 12, I think.
We had 15.
15.
Yeah, we had 15. We have 3 left. We went to go pick up our goats, and When we came back, we found just a bunch of piles of feathers and a couple of hysterical chickens. And then what did you see the next day that made us think it was the neighbor's dog?
The next morning he was right by the chicken coop looking for more.
He was out there looking for more, patrolling around the chicken coop, which we had locked that day. So we let our chickens free range during the day typically. So you think our livestock guardian dogs will have an effect there?
Yeah, that's why we decided to get some dogs now, so we could start training them for the goats and the chickens to protect them.
Okay, good. So what do you think, old Dan? Are you up to the job? You going to take on the neighbor's dog if he comes and goes after your chickens?
Yeah.
Hey, old Dan. I don't think they know their name yet. Old Dan. Yeah, he doesn't seem to know his name.
Old Dan. Old Dan.
Old Dan, come here.
Their names are similar.
Dan and Ann. That's why I like to call them Old Dan and Little Ann,
Yeah.
so they can distinguish better
Yeah, where
on
did
their
Little
names.
Ann go? Little Ann.
So where did the names Old Dan and Little Ann come from?
Where the red fern grows.
Where the Red Fern Grows. It's a great book, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is it one of your favorite books?
Yeah.
Yeah, mine too. Love that book. Did you cry at the end?
Yeah.
I did too. I read it in 6th grade, and I don't think I've stopped crying yet. So some would ask, well, why on earth would we name our dogs Old Dan and Little Ann when, you know, there was kind of a tragic ending to the book? And it's because they were great dogs that protected the boy. I don't remember the boy's name, but I do remember the dog's name. They protected the boy and taught him to be a man. So they were great dogs, and these we hope will be great dogs and live up to the name of Little Ann and Old Dan.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say about your pups?
That's about it. Hey! Dan! No.
That's what she says about her pups, mostly. Okay, so you bring them into the house and they sleep in your bed with you every night?
No, they're outdoor dogs.
Where do they sleep? Where do they spend the night?
They actually spend it out in the barn.
They're barn dogs. They spend their night out in the barn. We don't have them with the goats just yet, but we probably soon will. So, anything else you want to talk about with your dogs?
Little Ann, get down.
Good dog. We caught that one on camera. She actually did something that you asked. How exciting. All right, well, that's wonderful. So Goodly Grandma is out here working hard in the garden. And we're getting the garden ready for next year. We're just kind of cleaning up some of the mess out here. We found some volunteer onions. You want to show us the volunteer onions that the dogs are now eating?
Ann, Little Ann. Get down. Little Ann, get down. Little Ann, yeah.
Hey, she did something else that you asked. Yeah. So these are just volunteer onions. We think they're onions. So we'll kind of see what happens there, but they probably won't stick.
Garlic, we thought maybe.
Maybe garlic? Yeah, I don't know. Don't know. I tried pulling them up and I couldn't really tell.
If anyone knows, let us know.
All right. Okay. Okay, old Dan, you want to say anything? Little Ann, huh? Okay, they just want some love. They just want to be loved all the time. Yes, all the time. Yeah. All right, happy little dogs. Happy wife. Wag your tail, Karen. Thanks, Susie.
What are the names of your goats?
Oh, so the goats are, let's see, we're missing one. There's Blueberry over there. That's Blueberry, you can see she's blue. And then right here is Fudge. That's Fudge. This is Oreo. The black one is Licorice. And then the brown and white one is Toffee. So actually Karen got to name the goats. She was hungry when she named them. These are all Kiko does. They were all born this year, so they're born in February, March. They're not quite ready to be bred, but in the summertime we'll get a buck and we'll breed to these does, and then about 5 months later we'll have kids. So we're looking forward to that. These are all purebred Kiko goats, and they're all does. In the oldie times we would call them billies and nannies, but proper terminology in modern times is bucks and does. So here's Toffee. Come here, Toffee. Toffee's the shy one. She's probably the shyest. She's also the smallest. And then you see Fudge over there, the brown one. Fudge is the queen goat, so she's in charge. So she's the most assertive, the most aggressive. She'll kind of keep her herd in check. So she's the one that the other goats will follow. And part of my job is to become the leader of the pack so that she will follow me. So if I can get Fudge to follow me, then the rest of the goats will follow. So that's part of the training that I need to do with the goats. So we have enough room here in the shelter for probably around 30 goats in there. We have 5. Oh, there they go. Get them. They got spooked by Karen. So I spent more time with them than she has, so they're a little more used to me. But you can see what happens when they feel threatened. They run.
What do they like to eat?
Well, they will just browse on weeds and brush out there in the field. That's their preferred browse. But right now in the winter time, there's not a whole lot of that. So we give them over here, we give them lots of hay. You can see the hay in the manger there. And look over the top and you can see the big haystack. I got a stack of bales of hay. And then they knock this down. I got to attach it, but I give them grain every morning, mostly just not so much as a food supplement, but more socially. So I'll put grain in here, and I do that so that they associate me with yummy grain, and they'll come to me, and they'll. So basically, it just helps me socialize them, giving them grain every morning.
What's in that one?
That's minerals. So just free feed minerals. So they'll just come over here and kind of nibble at the minerals right there. So it's just a general mineral mix. So this is where they spend the night, or they come in out of the rain. You can see they have water. And so that's where they live, and then they spend most of their days, especially on nice sunny days, out in the sun, laying down there, chewing their cud. They're ruminants like cows are. So they'll go and they'll eat hay or eat grass or brush or weeds, and then they'll just sit and chew their cud out in the field. So they're nice and relaxing to be with. They're friendly.
When will they have babies?
What's that? When they'll have babies about 5 months after they've been bred. And first year does like these will probably have a single baby, but after that they'll most likely have twins or even triplets. So I think we'll breed them in the summertime. So about this time next year, we should have about 5 more goats probably. And then after that, the following year, they'll probably each have twins. And then their babies, what we'll do is we will keep the females, and they will become additional breeding stock. And the males will either castrate one to be companions with our buck, and he becomes what's called a wether, castrated male, and then the others will either sell or eat. So we're looking forward to that. So these are Kiko goats. Blueberry, licorice, toffee, fudge, and Oreo. And they are over here getting themselves acquainted with Old Dan, who's their livestock guardian. Now we put Old Dan here inside the fence because he's going to be an unneutered male, and so he's more inclined to go roam. So that's why little Ann isn't with us right now. She'll probably be an outside the fence guardian dog. So I wanted to bring Old Dan inside. We'll bring little Ann inside as well so she can come and join him, but primarily I want Old Dan to be the inside the fence guardian dog. So why Kiko goats? Why not some other breed? Well, there's a lot of reasons why we chose Kiko goats. The first reason is they're meat goats, so they are bred for meat. And then, well, there are other meat goats. There are even some that are bigger and more meatier called Boers, but Kikos are from New Zealand. They were bred from feral goats, and the benefits of them are three things in particular. One is that they're very parasite resistant. So some of the other breeds, they need constant worming so they don't get sick, but Kikos do really well out on pasture, very resistant to parasites. The other thing about Kikos is they have good feet. Some of the other goats, like Boers, require constant hoof trimming, but Kikos rarely do, so they're very low maintenance goats. And then the final and most important reason is that they are excellent kidders and good mothers. So when they have kids, the kids tend to be small, but then the goats grow quickly. So because the young, newly born kids are so small, they're born very easily and don't require help from the farmer. And then again, the mothers are excellent at their job. They're really good at taking care of their young, whereas some of the other breeds are a little more inclined to abandon their kids, and then you end up in kind of a bottle baby situation with kids. So great mothers, parasite resistant, good hooves, good feet, and they're meat goats, so that's why we chose Kiko goats for our farm.